South Jersey bad boys. South Jersey bad boys. Joshua Ryan.
Folks, how we doing?
How the hell are you? Let's
I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be here.
I haven't had a Colt 45 since last summer's graduation parties.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a cheers.
Gotta hear this
Cheers
cling
to
of
this
the
one.
glass Colt 45. These are rare, I was telling
I have
her.
a feeling this is not going to go down smooth.
I already have a hangover
been a
thinking about
minute.
drinking it.
Ooh.
So here's what happened. Reached out to Callahan. I said, are we having some beers? And Callahan says, well, I don't have any beer, but I'll go run out. I said, don't worry about it. I'm passing the liquor store on the way. What do you want?
Spoken like a true alcoholic.
And he texts me back, I don't know, whatever you're drinking, Miller Lite, Bud Light, or Colt 45. I went, wow, two of those things, one and the same.
Hand in hand, yeah.
Well, now we're getting Colt 45s.
Yeah. Yep.
There's no way we're not getting Colt 45s.
Thanks for suggesting that, Dan. Not just sticking with a classic Bud Light or Miller Lite.
And we can't finish the program until we finish these. So
Oh, yeah. that shouldn't be an issue.
Also, you both owe me $3.37.
yeah. The bitch upstairs will reimburse you on your way out, and she validates parking.
Talk to our accountant upstairs.
Yeah. Or you can Venmo Sam Donegan.
Get 50 on the phone, whatever you guys got to do. I need my $7.
How relevant is that now? It all comes full circle. Me and Mr. Cent, friend of the program, uncle to us both, and
Yeah.
he's the one that exposed Mr. Diddley himself.
Wait, so I'm
telling
actually
you.
not fully up to speed with
I'm not either. I'm
I
hoping
just
Josh
saw on
could.
Twitter that everyone's like, if 50 Cent has a problem with you, like, that it's for real. So is he part of the reason that Diddy's getting exposed right now?
I have no idea. I don't keep up on things. I had my suspicions post Biggie's death.
People are gonna love this cast. Three guys who go, "What's going on in the news?" Oh, 50 Cent. Go, "What's going on with it?" Oh,
We can talk about
"I don't know."
Donovan. I know a ton about Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
work
I
our
have
way.
a fun. Can I tell you a fun story about Donovan McNabb?
Oh, yeah.
I
Let's hear
went
it.
to the Eagles Carnival.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So that
remember
was for a few years where you would go and whatever. It was all for charity, and you could buy tickets to meet players. And
They
go
would
to
hang around the
games.
stadium at the link.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you
Yep.
could pay, I don't know, whatever, 4 tickets and kick
Yeah.
an extra point on the
I
field.
was down on the field doing
Yeah,
that.
it was fun, and 100% of it went to charity. So I meet Donovan McNabb again. He signs my jersey. It's hanging in my fucking office today. I'm 19 years old. I'm super excited. I love Donovan McNabb.
A little bit old for that.
Yeah, no. Oh, brother, you just wait.
I thought you were going to say 12 or 13.
Yeah.
19 years old. Couldn't have been more
No,
excited.
I'm a grown man.
Wow.
We get in line. It's me, 3 of my cousins that were in line with us, and my mother. And I'm so excited. He's just like kind of like doing autographs, like, oh, thanks for being a fan, signing. And he's just running through the line. And there's just like, table in between. And I was like, Donovan McNabb, I'm so excited to meet you. I'm 19 years old. And he goes, hey, buddy. And he stands up and gives me a hug
boy.
and comes around the table.
Oh, my God.
I have no idea that I'm just like, oh, dude, me and Donovan are vibing. Like, he's my
God.
boy.
This special kid is hard as fuck right now.
And he's like, hey, man, what's your name? I was like, I'm Joshua. He goes, hey, Joshua, it's nice to meet you. I'm Donovan. I know your name, Don. So it's like this whole thing. He's like, hey, man, thanks, bud, and I'll see you around. All right, man, see you. My mother's tears coming down her eyes with my cousins. And I'm like, what's so funny? And they go, Donovan McNabb thinks you're retarded. You know that, right?
To introduce yourself as Joshua and not Josh, too, doesn't help that case. I'm Joshua. He's like, I know you. I bet you are.
Do you want to be friends? So, yeah, Donovan, I would love to meet him
Meet him again?
as like, a seasoned man.
Tell me that story.
I was so excited.
We got to allow you to reintroduce yourself to Donovan. That would be awesome.
If I ever see him at Gitanos,
Gitanos in Willingsboro.
experience.
He spotted you in the crowd amongst a sea of 8 and 9-year-olds, and he goes, okay, this guy, I'm going to give him a big
He was
old
able
hug.
to spot him because he was
19-year-olds.
towering over all of the kids.
Exactly.
He shoved half of them out of the way.
All right, clearly this is a Make-A-Wish situation.
This man's been waiting in line patiently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He goes,
that's
"How-
fantastic.
So how
Grown-ass
much
man.
time you have left, buddy? And you're like, I don't know. I'm only 19. Hopefully.
I go to Camden County College in the fall. Well,
You know who I frequently see around Morristown's John Runyon, because he still lives there. He was a congressman for a little bit.
Guys, that motherfucker's still alive, dude.
He can barely walk, but
he's like 7'5", 450 pounds.
I loved watching him, not only because he wore number
was a beast,
69, but he had so many dirty blocks and late hits. I fucking loved
Yeah,
it.
didn't people used to say he was one of the dirtier players in that?
he's a nasty motherfucker.
But then Richie Incognito came along. Remember him from the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Oh, God. What did he get? Didn't he go to
hazing, I think.
he was
hazing?
bullying a guy that wasn't as good as him.
Yeah, and they went to a strip club, and he made the rookie drop like 150 grand at a strip club or something like that.
Yeah, I would be a
That's
little
not
ticked
offensive
off.
lineman money. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking
Yeah, it takes
franchise
them,
money.
Yeah,
Right.
It takes them a lot of money to get 150 grand a year for a lineman, I feel like. Yeah, but yeah, old Eagles players. Yeah, they go to the Gitanos in Willingboro, run into Donovan. Fred X was there. Donovan McNabb had a 50-yard turf football field in his backyard.
Really?
Yeah.
And he would
Damn,
just
that's sweet.
Freddie Mitchell would drop so many passes on that. It's pretty wild.
I think. Jason Avante. One time I was playing, just shooting hoops at the Audubon basketball courts, and I guess he was giving a speech at like Audubon High School, and he like just popped over. It was like, yo, give me the rock. We're like, yeah, and we just thought he was a regular guy. Then we realized we're like, that's fucking Jason Avant, dude.
Yeah.
And then he comes up, just hits it with a quick slam dunk, hops in his car and leaves. That was fucking sweet, dude.
Damn. I would so do
Dunk on these
that.
little white boys for a second.
Yeah.
Just came up, like hit a couple jumpers.
Wouldn't it be
slam dunked it?
Wouldn't it be so nice to be able to just get a confidence boost like that at any moment, at any time, if you're that built of an athlete?
Yeah, if you could dunk on command, yeah.
Imagine one of
Pretty
us
sweet.
just pulling up to a bunch of kids playing a pickup game in an outdoor court, like, hand us the rock.
Yeah. Excuse me, youngsters. Got
So I
something
go
show
to
you.
open mics that are an hour away from civilization.
Yeah. That's how you flex on them, huh?
That's my Jason Avant move.
Yeah, right. You gotta listen up, kids. You guys are gonna want to see this shit.
Now,
Was that Joshua Ryan?
was that
Was that Joshua Ryan?
seen his reels on the Instagram about who was the most recent one about?
He goes by Josh Ryan now after an incident.
Oh.
After I've been bullied by Brandon Donegan, I'm officially Josh Ryan again.
Man, what a post St. Patrick's Day lineup we got on the podcast here. We had Joe Conklin before.
I was going to let's whenever we're starting, just give me a heads up.
Classic Josh.
What is your expectation for this right now? Because here's what happened. Your previous guest was Joe Conklin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your next guest is Joshua Ryan.
Yeah,
Yep.
two Philly legends.
Two Philly legends. We're going to need you to do...
Like, did you do that? Did that just happen, or was that by design? You're like, let's get here.
I don't know if you could tell by the look of our setup down this basement. We're not the most organized cast.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, we really just go with the flow, and we try to open up the opportunities and keep this a very diverse and open podcast. And we've stuck mainly to the white
Irish Catholics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
And no, we figured that you'd come on here and you'd be able to give us your best like Chad Lewis impersonation. So
I have no impersonations. And Chad Lewis, he's a Brendan Donegan. We're like,
yeah.
Right. How would you?
there's not enough.
No, there's nothing. I don't know. That's such an obscure.
You guys remember James Thrash?
Of course, I remember James Thrash.
Used to have his jersey.
L.J. Smith, a Rutgers alum?
Yo, the
yeah.
fact, boys, that like we have Devontae Smith, AJ Brown,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dallas Scott,
Yeah.
fucking bananas. Like,
And what's it? Saquon Barkley. We just got.
That's what your most recent reel was about, was the signing of Saquon Barkley.
people are fucking mean on TikTok.
Really?
Damn, what did they say
Just
to
so
you?
mean.
Since when?
Just to me, right?
What? The
Brendan's like,
internet?
I'm a darling. They love me. Everything's very positive.
No, I put out everything I do on Instagram. I just put it all on TikTok. You would be amazed at how little of views I get on TikTok. It's like they cap out at like 150 to 200 views. I'm like, nothing. We had Conklin on. He was running through incredible impressions, and
Yeah.
they get to 200 views and they just stop.
His Harry Callis talking about Charles Barkley eating a cheeseburger.
His
was
Harry Callis
fucking-
is unreal.
Yeah.
You would
Spot
think it's
on.
him. I
Which
mean, they're all amazing, but his Harry Callis, I think he's been doing arguably the longest in his repertoire.
He said 40 years, and the guy's been dead now for what, 15,
At
maybe
least,
more.
Yeah.
10
And
15.
he's been carrying a career, which is incredible because that is a spot-on impression.
But you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Like,
No, you wouldn't be able to tell. So no, we love that, but yeah, we just stick to our our demo. You fall right into that demo.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, does the Bad Boys? Do we have a TikTok?
I just
Put it on your.
I just put
yeah.
all of our South Jersey Bad Boys clips and I just toss them out there just to see
Yeah.
what happens.
Because I'm banned
Yeah,
from
not
TikTok.
much.
Yeah,
so
right.
I can't.
but I'm the core demo. This is what you're going after.
This is exactly what
I
we're
am
going
Brendan
after.
Donegan 10 years from now if he had type 2 diabetes instead of type 1 diabetes.
That's right. Type 1 for life. Literally.
Can you get type 2 if you have type 1?
Probably. If you work hard enough, you could probably get.
If you put in the effort, you put in the hours, you can make anything happen.
Well, actually, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of counter. So you can't because it's the same thing. It's just how you arrive there. You know?
Yeah.
Type 1, your pancreas just gets shut down because God hates you. Type
Yeah.
2, you go, you know what, God, I got this one, and they get in there, they work hard, and they do it themselves.
Damn.
Yeah, Michelle Wolf said the different diabetes, not your fault diabetes or kind of your fault diabetes is one of my favorite lines
Yeah.
I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Now that is some terminology I can get behind. I've always been very
Yeah.
confused, and that simplifies it for an idiot like me.
I
like
mean,
that.
it's shocking that she's, going up at the cellar whenever she wants, and I'm in a basement in Stratford, New Jersey. With
Yeah.
lines like that, I don't know why we're not closer career-wise, but
Yeah. But, I mean, after this podcast comes out,
dude.
we don't know.
you don't know what could happen. Once this goes up on the talk, dude.
Yeah.
We're going to introduce the kids at TikTok to Colt 45. This is going to be incredible. Actually, usually I wait till later in the episode to get into a news article, but this one's too relevant. So let me run this one by you because I thought this was truly incredible.
Toss it in there.
Here we go. Kids are sniffing this pantry staple to get high right under their parents' noses. And this was brought to light by a woman on TikTok talking about a new thing that kids are sniffing. Can you possibly guess what that is mainly found in most kitchens around New Jersey kids can sniff to get high from? You guys have any idea? It's a spice. You know what kind of spice it might be?
Paprika.
Cinnamon.
No, I feel like those are very good guesses. Might be close. I'm not sure, but
I mean, I've tried. I knew it wasn't cinnamon.
It's
Personal excuse.
It's nutmeg.
Really?
Nutmeg. And a girl was saying on here, on a TikTok, on the platform, and there's a lot of kids, she was just like, it's pretty crazy how kids are finding out that you can get high from nutmeg. Meanwhile, her viral TikTok about getting high from nutmeg is now spreading like wildfire.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that, but now I'm going to try it. So,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to
Do
get
you have any nutmeg?
I was just thinking in my head, let's drink Colt 45.
Screw
and
the Colt 45s. Let's get some
Look, I'm
nutmeg
telling
in
you right
this
now,
bitch.
I don't think my heart makes it through the evening if we're sniffing nutmeg and drinking Colt 45. I think that Saquon Barkley bit is the last bit I get to put on social
Well,
media.
you did a lot of work built up to this. Don't blame it on the cast.
Yeah. You went out on top, too. I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently schools everywhere are finding kids with bottles of nutmeg in their backpacks in school, and it's becoming a problem.
Then why are they so judgy that I drink so much? These young
These
kids.
Oh, were they calling you an alcoholic on TikTok?
No.
What were they saying?
They were just being mean. They said, well, when does the joke start? And I was like, all right.
Right. Hey, you know what,
kids.
guys? Go to fucking school. Otherwise, you're going to wind up like me on TikTok.
This is what I don't understand. I don't have the energy to exert hate for something I'm not passionately hateful about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I really feel passionately about something, good or bad, I'm more vocal.
Yeah.
But things like, I mean, how much mediocre comedy do you guys witness firsthand? Do you feel compelled to go up to somebody and tell them how, like...
No.
No, you hate it on the inside and you keep it to yourself.
That's it. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
As Irish
Or
guys,
you
that's
throw-
what we were
you
taught
throw
to do.
it in
It's
our group chat.
Fucking-
That's what that's for. Your friend's group chat or,
Yeah.
or internally where you just combust.
I texted somebody in that group chat. I was like, I don't know if I'm mean enough to be in this.
You guys are the meanest ones. I feel like the newest...
I'm not the meanest.
Not to, anyone in particular, but the ones who are firing out wild jokes, I would say most consistently, is probably the newest additions, you and Boss.
It is boss. If you look back, go back.
And that's not...
We
that's
look
not
similar.
That's not criticizing. I'm just saying you guys are ready to rock in there. You guys are
guys
firing
are.
them out.
Some people have the SEAL Team 6 like the United States Navy does, but we got the Sex Team 6, and it's full of South Jersey comedians. And if you guys want a little insight here,
South Jersey Bad Boys.
can I just read an excerpt
Should
from
we
today?
rename it South Jersey Bad Boys?
We should. some people in there,
great name.
rivals of ours, might get a little
Rivals of ours
upset.
might get a little.
But here's a little sneak peek into the mental illness of the South Jersey comedy scene. I asked Cody Wright, frequent guest of the program, what's his blood type? He said, the blood in my body or my favorite flavor? And I said, both. And this was Cody's response. I know this prank. I tell you my blood type, then later you're going to shoot me on stage and I think I'm going to bleed out and I wake up in a hospital with someone else dancing assless in a hospital robe, blah, blah, blah. And he keeps going on and on. I think I may be, I'm not sure. So then I said, thank you. So that's just a little look into what we're doing in the South Jersey comedy community. So,
My favorite thing is when we'll all wake up to a text or a couple of voicemails from Cody at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Just on maybe like a weeknight or a weekend, and then he just wakes up and says, "Yeah, sorry about all the calls. Sorry about fucking."
Sorry, it was a wild Tuesday night.
He called me at 6:45 one night, and then I missed it. I was unable to answer, and then he called me at 8:30, and then he called me at 10:45 as I was laying down. And I was like, I'm not picking that up. Like, if he's in jail or needs a ride or something happens, he'll leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
And I wake up. And he sent me a screenshot of him texting a very famous comedian.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, good, that's awesome. He's like, I'm very embarrassed. And then sent me screenshots of 2 other famous comedians. So for
God.
that day, I was
could
walking
guess.
around going, when he's hammered, he's thinking about this guy, and Josh Ryan.
Yeah.
And then I come to find out he texted you. He texted
I think he just sends out mass texts through all of his content.
He's just a drunk. He's like, you'll give me attention. I'll keep going around. But in my head, it's me and that elite 3.
Oh, fuck yeah.
People.
Isn't it the worst when you think you're the individual recipient of something? You're frequently like that with things I send you online, too. And you're like, I thought I was the only one getting this. And then you find out you're not.
Because you send it individually.
Yeah.
Some people send me, how do you tell people I don't need to see your reels? But not your reel. Like, if you sent me a clip I would happily watch it. But if you just like, here's a lady falling on her face in the ice, you're like, I don't care. I don't.
You get a lot of people sending you reels.
I have a half a dozen people that send me too many reels.
Yeah.
I have a lot of that, too. I wake up to like 12 unread messages from 12 different people with like 6 different videos inside of each one.
And some of them are very funny, but it definitely is a thing that I think people see that you do stand-up comedy, and they go, who's going to think this is funny?
Yeah.
And they send you everything they see that they think is funny.
Yeah.
And you're like,
He's going to get a load of this.
but then everyone thinks that way, so that everyone is sending you reels and stuff.
Well, here's the thing. It's curated. Like, they've gone through many reels.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one. That's the one I'm going to send that's going to...
I love when different friends of mine that aren't connected send me the same ones. Like, we're all in sync. Like, I see the same thing that they see, and they see it and send it to me.
It reminds me of an old Sam Morril bit, which is so fucking funny, where he talks about the dudes leaving comments on porn videos.
Yes,
It's like, how creepy is that there's someone that's watching this who's like, who would love this? Gary. Gotta send this over. Like,
That bit is cool.
how fucking creepy it is for somebody to just be commenting on, a porn video.
So, Josh, give us your backstory of South Jersey. Are you born and raised in South Jersey? What's the...
I am, and I was.
Where at?
I grew up in Runnymede.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you go to Triton?
I went to Triton High.
Did you?
5 years after Big J Okerson.
I was going to say, Big J went there.
Oh, I didn't
Nice.
realize that Big J went there.
Yeah.
He always says he's from West Philly, but he grew up in
Trashy
Gloucester
Triton,
Township, right?
I think he grew up. I think he moved here when he was like already in high school,
I
and then
think he was-
graduated from here, and then took
Yeah.
off.
Philly to South Jersey.
Yeah.
Trashy Triton, dog.
Trashy Triton. It's
What was the trashiest
hardcore.
thing that was going on?
A lot of drugs at Triton, yeah?
There. You know what's funny? I had a couple of friends that went to Paul VI, and they had drugs too. They were just nicer drugs.
Okay. Because
Like, we had dirty Jersey weed and,
Yeah.
Oxycontin, and they were just...
there was a lot of kids at Paul VI that OD'd. Like,
Did you go to Paul VI?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no
I thought
idea.
that's what you referenced.
No.
But there was a lot of kids from, like, Blackwood, Washington
Passive-aggressive as
Township.
fuck. I had no idea.
Trashy Triton. Yeah, a lot of Paul VI kids were pieces of shit.
My hand to God, I had no idea.
No, I don't care. But Triton, like, it doesn't matter. Like, even if you go to a nice Catholic school, the rich kids were a lot of the times the ones that were really getting heavy into drugs. I think they were just like they were bored and had access.
Yeah.
So like there was a lot of like good Catholic schools, Paul VI or whoever, where there was a ton of kids that were going
Yeah.
hard on drugs. I mean, we had multiple kids OD. But Triton, a lot of them, they went to the same grade school. And the Triton kids were
Where'd you grow up?
bad news. Audubon.
Okay. Yeah. So you would have went to Triton if you didn't go to Paul 6.
No, Audubon. Audubon High School.
Oh, there's a high school in Audubon?
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's
Joe
a small
Flacco,
town.
the Green Wave. Yeah.
Green Wave.
Well, he went to Haddon Heights.
No, Audubon.
Okay.
Yeah, Flacco went to Audubon. My high school scrimmaged in the year after he graduated in football. And I was like, where's Flacco at? They're like,
Yeah.
he left last year.
Yeah, my buddy intercepted him in a regular season game in high school, and he doesn't shut the fuck up about it. It was 22 years ago.
Still riding that out. You know, I
Yeah.
intercepted Flacco, actually.
Yeah.
Dude, you got to go home. You got to leave Brewers. All right? Yeah.
God, it's like you were there.
Yeah.
You know?
I intercepted Flacco, and I have half custody of my kids.
I show my daughter every other Wednesday the picture, the still shot of me.
Yeah, the Triton kids were like, I felt like they would be the kids that you'd be at a party and maybe they'd pull a knife on you or something.
Yeah, I mean, there were some bad motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, don't mess with that guy.
Right.
He's got a couple of screws loose.
Now,
Like, you
were
know,
you into stand-up?
drugs very much.
Yeah.
No.
Like, so Big J being 5 years old, like, I guess you guys didn't cross paths in high school, but did you hear about him? Like, I guess, how soon did you discover comedy? And did you...
So I
any
credit. I
connection?
mean, I loved comedy as a young kid, way before I ever attempted to try it. I tried to be an actor for about 8-9
Oh, really?
years. Yeah, went to school for that.
No way.
oh,
Where'd you
really?
go to school?
I went to the Ward Acting Studio, so I studied Meisner for a year.
Oh, cool. Whoa. So
yeah,
many
and
different
it took
shades
some-
of J. Rye.
I'm telling you. And
even know.
I took some classes. I went to school to be a drafter at Camden County College, and then I went to Rutgers, transferred in, I got a business degree. My mom was like, I love you, and I love that you're passionate about this thing, but like...
What do you mean a drafter?
Like blueprints and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I would draw the blueprints.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Eventually went back to school, and then instead of getting an MBA, I was like, I'm gonna study acting for a year.
Oh, wow.
That feels like the... Anyway, so I was into comedy very, very young.
So
My mother was the first person to introduce me to stand up. George Carlin albums, way younger than you probably should have listened to them.
Yeah.
But my old man was showing me like Scorsese and Oliver Stone flicks
Yeah.
when I was like 10.
That's
So
it.
like,
Dude, that's so funny. My mom
Yeah.
my mom brought me to Lisa Lampanelli shows when I was
Really?
like a preteen.
yeah, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
what's up, man. Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is now, like, my dad used to show me all Bill Cosby stuff, and it's like you guys were like your parents were like, oh, they were showing me the dirty comics, and it's like now,
Yeah.
my dad was trying to show me clean comedy. It turns out
I've
to be
talked to people, so like some of my before I can remember it. You know what I'm saying? Like 3, 4, 5 years old, Bill Cosby himself. My mom would play it for me and my little cousins.
Yeah.
Not my little cousins; they're like 6 months younger than me. But so me and my cousins, and we would just laugh. He'd make the silly faces, and Bill, this is God.
Yeah.
And we would just fucking eat it up. And then also she introduced me to George Carlin, and it was like, man, Cosby we get, that's clean and wholesome, but this Carlin guy, not my, people
Yeah.
would say like, be a little
Carlin-
judgy about it, and I'm like, that's. Yeah,
Did Carlin like Cosby? Like, were they friends at all?
I
I don't think they crossed
so.
paths a whole lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, because Cosby was notoriously not really fond of anybody cursing in their acts. He had the whole thing
Right,
with Pryor
right.
and Eddie Murphy.
That's what I was
Murphy,
wondering. I'm like,
yeah.
I wonder if they beefed at all, and if I feel like certain guys sniffed him out for kind of being a piece of shit and pretending to be this, like Eddie Murphy being a prime example of that. It's
Yeah.
like, fuck Bill Cosby. The guy's a fucking dick.
Isn't that?
Just have a Coke and smile and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that hilarious that those guys? I mean, Richard Pryor was like making freebase, wasn't he? And then between him and Eddie Murphy hasn't had any issues other than like most recently people are trying to cancel him over saying faggot on his one special. And he
In
was like,
1985, are you
Yeah.
for real?
Insane.
but
Also, that's a hilarious bit when he was talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
the gay police, and he's like, "Wee wee." It's not a siren; it's a fag on the roof. Cone.
yeah, but they're going after. I was
funny.
like, that's what he was saying then. You know who did have beef though was Carlin and Dice. They were at each other's throats all
Really?
the time. Yeah.
I'm sure that was induced by Dice.
Oh yeah. And he talked about it when he was on Rogan, but there was a whole CNN interview, Larry King Live. Carlin was talking to Larry King about how Dice. He's like, oh, he's just shock humor. The guy's a moron. He's just cursing. Like, there's nothing behind his character. And Carlin, it made you think a lot. Was talking about a lot of things, but did it in a funny way most of the time. And I loved listening to Carlin stuff growing up.
I go back and like I'll come home and I got a couple beers in me and I'll put on whatever.
I'm like just kind of now getting. I mean, I hate to even say this, just kind of now getting into Carlin. Like I've always seen some stuff here and there, and I'm like, oh yeah, like this bit's incredible, but I've never like fully sat down and watched all of his stuff.
Yeah. Somebody's got, I forget which streaming platform, but they have his 11 albums.
Probably HBO, I guess.
HBO has a lot of them.
HBO, I want to say Amazon for some reason. Amazon
probably
bought the...
Yeah, HBO only has like 4 of his things, but he recorded originally most of them for HBO. I think he did 13 with HBO.
It's hard to go back and watch old specials. There's some that, stand the test of time.
Yeah,
a lot of them don't. Comedy's not something that
it's hard. I'm trying to think of the main guys that I've.
Carlin's does a lot, but it's funny how you see people cherry picking it. Like you'll see a bunch of people very left wing and very right wing are like, "Oh, Carlin's on our side with this." They're like, "No, he's on our side." I was like, "I think he fucking hated it anyway."
So Brett, I think he hated groups of people. I've listened to that man talk enough about groups of people about when people start to clump together.
Yeah,
whether it be religion or politics or whatever.
Yeah.
They lose themselves. He's like, but if you talk to a person one-on-one, I'm very curious. Watch some Carlin and then let's chat because you're a couple years younger than me. You've never seen it. If I go back now and I watch and I go, oh, that's the most liberal shit I've ever heard in my life. And then the next bit, I'm like, that's some libertarian shit.
Yeah.
That's like some fucking like.
If anything, he strikes me as the most libertarian guy you could be because just playing both sides.
Yeah.
Not really giving a fuck about one extreme or the other, just pointing out the contradictions and stuff like that.
One guy that when you talk about holding up at all, when me and my bitch wife were watching Miss Maisel on oh no that's our banter. That's our
Anytime
banter.
we refer to our wives, it's always my bitch wife.
Yeah,
do I have to do that too? I don't have a wife anymore.
You got to, whether you do or not.
Bitch girlfriend. I didn't need that much emphasis behind it.
Well,
I think you're the third person who's been like, "Whoa, take it easy."
It really rolls off the tongue,
man. But we were watching Miss Maisel, and Lenny Bruce is in that. And I sort of like pulling
that
up.
actor's incredible. I forget his fucking
name.
He
was great.
He's so good in everything he does.
Now, if you go back and look at some Lenny Bruce on YouTube and everything, I hear what he's saying, but I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, let alone is funny to me. And I'm like, but he really opened the door to saying like dark, dirty, cursing on stage and all that, which I totally get.
Yeah.
But like the bits he's talking about, I'm like, I don't know what he even means.
It's hard to put yourself in the context of that time, but
the 50s,
it's interesting. Like he used to go to jail for cursing and this stuff.
Carlin did too.
Yeah.
Carlin actually was.
Oh, did he really?
Arrested for doing that.
He's a documentary on HBO they did a couple years ago. Did Judd Apatow do that? I believe.
I think he might have. Yeah.
That's on HBO too. Yeah, give that a watch.
But at one point, why did the chicken cross the road was new.
Yeah.
Like nobody had said that before, and then at a certain point,
sure.
So to go back and watch a guy like Lenny Bruce, I don't feel the same way about George Carlin. I feel like if you go back and you're like, that's not like the Beatles. Like the Beatles have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
There's other great rock and roll bands in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and some of them. I mean, there's a lot of great whatever, but there's some where you go back and you're like, well, that's cool. It's good rock and roll, but it's not. It's not the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Carlin's kind of the Beatles to stand-up comedy.
For sure. Yeah, I could see that.
There's nobody else that's done it for 5 decades.
And there's certain guys, like, if, I agree with what you said about Lenny Bruce. You watch back, you're like, I don't fully understand the context of what's going on here, but you could just tell. I mean, you hear the laughs, his rhythm, his confidence. Like, you could see how they would be such a, big person back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's, listening to, like, Conklin. I'm such a Joe Conklin fan. Like, it was so fucking dope.
He's cool, dude.
Yeah.
You texted me, and then I think a day and a half later, that fucking episode dropped, and I was like, no way. Yeah. That's fucking awesome. But, like, him, you can hear it in his, like, this is a 40-year vet that's been doing it. That, he doesn't have a little corner office in his fucking basement to do office work. He doesn't have to sell metal. He doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But you can hear it in his voice, and you could hear it in, like, somebody like Carlin's voice, like, how do I stay relevant? Mm-hmm. How does a guy like Conklin resonate with the guy that's, how old are you, 30?
31.
31, yeah, like, how does that happen? How does he resonate with a guy that's 21 that, and it's pretty cool to to watch people do that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because for him especially, you got to step out of your comfort zone when you get older and be able to try to appeal to a younger audience by getting clips online. Like when we were talking to him about that, he was just like, "What do you guys do? You clip things and you post them online?" Like,
and he doesn't give a fuck anymore at this point. And he'll even say, like, I think he said on the cast, he's like, "I've been doing this so long." He's like, part of it, he's like, I just don't really care anymore. He's like, I've done well. I've done radio for 30 plus years. And I think he was just doing me a favor by joining the cast because
you open for him a lot, right?
Yeah, we do a ton of gigs together.
So the parish is on lockdown.
Yeah, we got every
got the archdiocese.
Joshua Ryan, St. Marie Goretti. All right,
okay. We're doing a Father Judge fundraiser coming up in a couple of weeks. That should be pretty popping.
Damn, that'll be a wild
one. I
one.
swear to God, like some of these fundraiser shows. I mean, you and I started doing fundraisers, so like. It is very funny to do these because you go in and people look at you and they, in comparison, it's usually you're the young guy on the show and the audience is mostly,
70s.
People in their 50s, 60s, 70s. So they'll look at it and they go, "Oh, who's the kid?" Even though I'm like, I'm a 31-year-old father.
Yeah.
So the expectations are so fucking low. And Dan and I, we started out doing just horrible fundraiser shows in the middle of nowhere all the time, so you just know how to work them after a little while.
Did you guys start out together?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much right around the same time. Yeah, different.
I might have started a little before Dan.
Okay.
But like we used to do all Soul Joel gigs. Forever.
Yeah. It was funny because you started with Joel really in the Valley Forge Casino, and I started by doing open mics, and then through like Joel and stuff, we kind of came together there and started relatively within months of each other.
For sure. 2017.
2017. And you've been doing it for way longer than
Well,
me
I'm
have.
at that point where I lie about how long I've been doing it.
Well,
because I should not be where I'm at.
Well, no, but you've been doing it all over the place, and I want to hear from you while we're nerding out about comedy, talking about different people. We always love, obviously, everybody has their stories about fucking absolute disasters or just funny shit that happened.
Yeah.
Is there anything you do stuff out in middle of nowhere, PA too, near Harrisburg,
North Carolina? I fucking whatever. Yeah.
Well, where's like the most obscure place or craziest story you have about comedy?
I got a follow-up question too. Just remind me.
Craziest story or like
just anything that was like out of the ordinary for a show, like
So I have not out of the ordinary, but it's one of my favorite things. Greg Fitzsimmons is one of my favorite comics.
Oh, he's the fucking best.
So I got to open for him at Bananas.
No way.
3 shows
up in East Rutherford.
Yeah,
right?
in the Meadowlands. So he took a liking to it. And sometimes you work with people that you admire quite a bit, and you can tell, like, you meet them, you introduce yourself. "Hi, I'm Josh Ryan."
Yeah, you click.
And you can tell the ones that go, "Okay, do your job. I'm going to do my job. We're all professional." And you're like, no harm, no foul. I'm not upset by that. Obviously, I'll do my job. I'll make sure I get the show going, introduce you proper, whatever. And then sometimes you'll meet a guy. And I mean, there's a ton of guys that like fucking, have been cool. But Greg Fitzsimmons was one of the coolest because I've just admired his work for decades. I mean, before I wanted to do comedy, I've been a big fan of this guy. Like,
yeah, I love Fitzsimmons. He's cool.
he was very interested in. I want to talk to him about his thing, and he was more interested to talk to me about my thing.
Really?
Yeah, he's like, "How long have you been doing it?" What like, I've been doing comedy for 8 years. I go, "All right, man, this is when you start to understand yourself, understand what you're doing up there, and fucking cool as shit." And I have this weird OCD thing. If I have to host, I'm terrified I'm gonna forget the name.
Sure.
I hate when people come up to you and they go, "Oh, tell them that I was in this, and then this is my podcast. My other podcast is this."
Or like 12 credits that you can't remember at all.
Yeah, you're like, dude, I'm worried about mindset. You got to introduce a couple people.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Give me one credit.
The killer comics never do that.
Yeah,
don't.
they go, whatever.
He said one thing. I was like, "Do you want me to mention this and this?" Because he just put something out, and he goes, "I was on Rogan last week. You just mentioned that." Done. Like, killer comics. Hey, mention that one thing. So we're talking in this, but I have this weird OCD, so I have to write the people's names on my hand. I don't look at it, but I need to know that it's there.
Just in case.
So this is not some TikTok person that I don't know.
You're very familiar with the guy.
I'm intimately familiar with his work for
and
the
his
last
most recent
25
credit.
years.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I listened. I was like, that's what I was doing Tuesday when I was driving around.
Yep.
And I went like this to Greg Fitzsimmons, and I was like, "Hey, this sounds fucked up." And I went like this, and Greg Fitzsimmons was written on my hand, and he was like, "I get it, bro." So that was pretty cool. And we just got to talk about listening to somebody like it sounds like you get to a fair amount, like just true like Jedis of this fucking thing, and
For sure, yeah.
you're like, man, like I'm probably not making the All-Star game at any point in my career, but if I could play in the fucking NBA, like I could. This is how you know what I mean? Like,
I never heard of that analogy, but that's a pretty good way to put it,
Yeah.
right?
It would be dope to be LeBron James, but I don't have to be. I want to play in the NBA.
Well,
this is what I want to do.
That's the cool
like,
part about comedy. When I first started doing it, you realize, and everyone talks about now how many comedians there are, but it's still relatively a small world. Like the crazy part is, one day you're doing open mics, the next day all of a sudden you're on a show with Greg Fitzsimmons, who's one of like the top comedians. You know,
and spoiler alert,
do
that
it.
following Wednesday I was at High Note Humor.
Yeah,
trying
see?
out a new
That's
joke.
just how it goes.
Yeah, there you go.
That's just how it goes. But it's like, if you get in the game, like comedy's still small enough where it's like, how many? If you play basketball, what are the chances you're ever going to just be in a pickup game with LeBron James? There is a chance if you do comedy where you could be on the same show
right.
as Louis C.K. or Greg Fitzsimmons or
they just
Bill
popped
Burr.
in to
Yeah.
It's like it happens.
I
And,
talk
like,
about that all the time with musician friends of mine. It's like you will probably never get to play on the same stage as Mick Jagger, but like we could very well do a show that Chappelle pops into or Bill Burr jumps
That's what's
on
cool
or
about
whatever.
comedy.
Yeah.
It's a small enough world where that shit can happen.
Yeah.
and
it does. And not being a dick is somebody told me they work at a comedy club in New York, and they said, you're funny enough. They run like the new talent stuff for that part of the, that arm of the club.
Yeah.
And they said, you're funny enough, and you have a card. So he would send me on. I would pick up the headliner for like a corporate gig in Connecticut or whatever. And I'd pick up the headliner and, drive them, open the show, drive them back to their place. Like, I'm not a weirdo. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, hey, so-and-so said, like, they felt
That goes a long way in
safe
comedy.
and, like, you were a good conversationalist and,
Yeah.
like, you weren't a weird guy
You're
or anything.
reliable.
Reliable. I showed up on time. I did what I was supposed to do, whatever.
Those little things can get you so far with
They get you so far, dude.
If you have a working vehicle, I mean,
100%. Yeah.
And if
that.
you're a reliable guy on top of all those things, that can increase your amount of work by 50%.
yeah. And anybody that doesn't know it already that's listening and is frequently engages with comedy podcasts, most comedians are borderline, if not full-blown mentally ill. So being able to have a card
I'm
show up
highly
on time.
mentally ill. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
And I have a drinking problem, but I will never be drunk on the stage.
Yeah.
I might not remember leaving the facility. I usually do because I'm pretty good at that because you don't want to shit where you eat. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And hit the mark.
I can't get high and perform. I've tried it once or twice and I lose my mind.
Bro, I couldn't be high if there was no cameras rolling. I know you guys.
Yeah.
I trust you guys. If you're like, hey, let's play some Xbox. And
Yeah,
get
yeah.
stoned. I was like, I can't do it.
You put on
Actually, I like it a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it gets me in a loosey-goosey mood. Sometimes. Most of the time, no.
the problem
Are you
with
really Irish? What are you doing?
I know.
my problem is I get really loosey goosey with it, but I go into left fucking field and I like can't reel myself back in. That's my problem.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Yeah,
before.
I do that sober, but yeah, when I'm
yeah.
high,
But it's exact. Yeah, it's to a different level.
But I also get that level of paranoia everybody gets on it, where I'm just like, oh my god, like people know that I'm doing. And I didn't really smoke weed until the last year or two.
Is that right?
Yeah, until start doing it, and I'm like, oh my god, the things people say are true.
Wow.
Yeah.
I quit before I got my driver's license.
Really?
I would roll. I smoked so much weed I could roll a joint walking to 10th grade. I could roll the joint while walking. That's how much weed I smoked.
Is that a class at Triton High School?
It should be.
They got wood shop and they also got
They got
roll on a
wood shop,
J.
cocaine,
I don't know what this fucking woman's
J-rolling.
doing, but I almost got drug tested and I would have failed miserably for a couple things. Not crack cocaine, but a fucking teacher, Miss Britton, first grade or first period
I
science.
was like, you're smoking weed in first grade, bro.
Damn, they
God
start them
damn,
young
dude.
at Triton.
Miss Britton, 10th grade science, first period. She said, you smell like a cigarette. You have to stop smoking. I said, well, I stop smoking when I walk on the school property. And she was like, blah, blah, blah. We're doing like something with like fucking rocks or some shit. And I was like, it looks like crack. I just watched New Jack City with my father showing me movies well before he should. And I had to go to the principal. I had to fight out of a drug test. I wasn't on crack cocaine.
Yeah.
It just looked like crack cocaine.
Damn, dude, I
But
did.
anyway, I quit smoking weed when I was 16 and then didn't start it back up till I was really in my 30s.
Quick question to circle back really quick. Did you pursue acting after acting school?
I did. I had a couple of really cool opportunities in a very short period of time, in like a month period, where like it was very reminiscent when COVID happened with stand up, where like I was working at it and I was doing everything I could and whatever else, and I had two callbacks. Like I was in the ABC Studios building,
No way.
in New York, for like a reoccurring role in a pilot.
Really?
And then I got an audition off of a video, and then from Heary Casting in Philly, and then it was Silver Linings Playbook, which
way.
is such a.
You got a callback for Silver Linings?
I got
Holy shit,
two
you would be
callbacks,
cool.
I think, and then they decided not to.
They went with Chris Tucker.
Yeah, I swear to God, no, my hand to Jesus Christ, Brendan. It was in the group therapy. There was a guy that had a problem with his hair in the very beginning of the movie. And they just gave the lines to Chris Tucker. It's funny you should say
No
that.
way.
I didn't know you went to Paul VI. You didn't know that shit.
Right.
And then I didn't get it. And then I auditioned for a voiceover commercial and Diane Heary, and it's just me and her in the room. And she goes, "Hey, the last week, she's like, I'm really proud of you. Like, the guys from like the show were like, hey, I think this is the part for you, but there might be another part we're thinking about you. Like, big fat oafy, creepy guy. I got to be honest with you. That's what."
You're getting typecasted?
That's it.
We love you. You're like, thank you?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Can I get the fucking job? Please?
Yeah.
So all that happens, and then I'm about to record for a voiceover audition for the Pulaski Highway in New York. And she goes, "I'm really proud of you, but you didn't get either one of those."
You're like, well, at least you're proud of me, bitch. Excuse me, I gotta pay rent.
And she's like, "All right, we'll record now." And I was like, I'm fucking crying. I'm like, starting September 30th, the Pulaski Highway.
Why the
is
fuck
gonna
did she tell you before you did it?
I don't think she didn't do it on purpose. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't malicious. But it was one of those, and I went into such a deep depression that I stopped doing anything for 6 months.
Really?
Like, I stopped doing
Including
anything
stand-up?
acting
Yeah,
wise.
Yeah.
So I went to work, and I still went to school or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you ever, like, do you still go do auditions and stuff?
I don't, but I really think I would like to start doing it.
You should.
Yeah.
Why not? If you're getting callbacks for Silver Linings, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 lines in the beginning
still.
of it. But I mean, I'm such a film nerd. Like, 3 lines in a David O. Russell film? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
it's so hard to get a call. I do like commercial auditions and stuff. I never get a call back.
yeah.
Ever, dude. It's
Yeah.
hard.
oh, go ahead. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no, please.
I was just going to say, I thought you were going to mention that Silver Linings Playbook. There's a few scenes where he's at a tailgate at an Eagles game, right?
Yes.
Because I thought you were going to be like, yeah, I was going to be the guy that got thrown through a table.
But that book, the author of that novel, Matthew Quick, grew up in Collinsville. My mother grew up in Collinsville. She lives in Collinsville.
Oh, okay.
She moved back after 4 decades or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
I know I have
movie.
friends that are friends with the author. I've met him once briefly, just a very quick hi, nice to meet you. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, like that's all the landmarks that he talks about. They move him to Philadelphia in the movie, but they're all.
I
Yeah.
It's
love
Newton Lake. It's fucking
Yeah, I love
Newton
that
Creek
movie.
Diner or whatever. Like,
Yeah, I love Newton Creek Diner.
yeah. But acting is a lot of fun. I do miss it. There's something really fun about it.
Yeah.
That's where I met my current girlfriend.
Acting?
Was at the Meisner acting studio. yeah.
Okay. Where is the Meisner? That's in Philly?
Wendy unfortunately passed away. Wendy Ward. The Ward acting studio is probably no more because the lady died.
Yeah.
But
That one really got you.
Damn.
Yeah, she croaked. Probably not running anymore.
no, I met my girlfriend there, and we studied Meisner for a year. And,
So when was this?
I graduated Rutgers in 2007,
Okay.
and then I immediately I worked. I'm sorry, I went. Wait, did I graduate? I graduated Rutgers 2009.
Rutgers Camden or New Brunswick?
Come on, bro. I'm a Triton kid. What do you think?
You're a Rutgers Camden Raptor, aren't you?
Goddamn right.
You're a Scarlet Raptor. I know it, dude.
The year after that. Oh, I'm sorry. So 2011 is when I did it. I had taken acting classes.
Yeah.
My first acting class, like real acting class at Rutgers, I actually studied with the professor at the Ward Acting Studio. So
Oh, cool.
she was in the class, which is pretty cool. But she's
Has she
a friend
got
now.
Has she gotten any cool gigs? Your girlfriend?
No, she stopped acting many years ago. It's a lot. And she's like
Yeah.
a pretty girl. She was a pretty girl in her 20s, and like
Yeah.
these guys are fucking scumbag. A lot of these people.
Oh
like,
yeah,
It's just hard to get your foot in the door too. It's like most of it is just classes or courses, and they're like, sign up for this. Like, to figure out how you can even start to get to the point where you're auditioning for legitimate stuff, it feels almost impossible. I took like some acting classes. First of all, how awkward are some of these acting classes where you're in there with a bunch of fucking weirdos who are so fucking crazy, dude?
You know what's funny though? It's a good, like, it's not too dissimilar from open mic comedy. You know,
That's true.
fucking weird motherfuckers that like the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and then you talk to guys like you're like, hey man, I'm Dan.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember the first time we met, but I remember being like, oh, he's a funny dude, and like he's normal.
Yeah. Well, that's why I got, like, I thought I wanted to be an actor, and I started doing, like, acting stuff, and then kind of along the way found comedy, and I just gravitated to comedy stand-up so much more because I was just like, I just feel, for whatever reason, so much more comfortable doing stand-up than I do acting. Like, the people are so fucking weird. They're not relatable. Obviously, there's so many crazy people in stand-up, but, like, at least you're all getting up there, and you're fucking around, you're saying fucked up jokes. Like, they were just, you'd be sitting in, I remember I was doing like audition for something, and there was a bunch of like actors. They're trying to get us to all know each other, and just every motherfucker was the biggest weirdo. And I'm like, I couldn't even talk to him. I was like, dude, this fucking stinks, dude. I think I'm just gonna do stand-up.
Well, I think like it's like stand-up, like bad stand-ups are like bad actors. Where you're like, it's all about you. I'm your muse. Like, none of this. Like, you're not having it. When
I
you
didn't
meet
like that world either, too, where it's like, stand up, you can work when you want to work, you know, for the most part.
100%,
generally. Acting, it's like you just are waiting around for the most part, and you're like, you know.
It's funny with stand up where you can tell. I've always bucketed, like, when I see people that are either starting or at a mic, whatever it is, people either have a really good stage presence, like they did some theater gigs in high school or whatever it is in their drama class, but need more of the setup punchline type of jokes in it, or it's the complete opposite, really funny joke structures but are terrified on stage. I usually see it's either one or the other, and rarely do you get somebody with a really good stage presence
that threads that needle
perfectly, like from the get-go. And when you have that is where it's like someone that's just pure natural. But
well, you had said, like, you know, you feel weird being up there doing acting, but stand-up's more natural. I've originally felt the opposite, because I feel like there's a layer of protection if I'm up there and I'm doing there's like, I got to do a couple plays in New York off Broadway. So
cool.
It's not, 50 person, but I did a Tom Stoppard play, The Real Inspector Hound, and I was Bird Boot, which is one of the main characters. He's on the stage the entirety of the play.
Oh, cool.
And like, I remember feeling like a fish out of water. And like, oh, I just love Tom Stoppard, don't you? And I was like, oh fuck, dude, I don't know anything. I'm a fucking idiot. Like, I didn't get to study this shit when I went to Triton High School.
Yeah,
but
it's a lot of theater nerds. I did not like that.
Yeah, and there was a level of like, well, I have this knowledge that you don't. But I did like the fact that it was me up there playing a character. So if me and you were in a scene, they're not judging Josh Ryan.
Right.
They're not judging me. When I'm up there doing stand-up,
yeah,
these are my thoughts. This is my interpretation of the world. This is my story. This is the literal... Donovan McNabb thinks I'm retarded. Whatever. Like,
totally.
This is a thing that happened to me, and I'm going to comment on it and try to make it funny for everybody. But if you don't think it's funny, or you think it's dumb or not well put together, I did that. I did all of it.
Right.
If you didn't like Bird Boot, he's a womanizing British cunt. Like, I don't...
Right.
Yeah.
There's a level of protection to that,
I could totally see that for the same reasons, just from a different perspective. I didn't like it for the kind of the same reasons, where it's like in stand-up, you write it yourself, you talk how you want to talk, and I'm like, at least it's me. Like, I get to write the way that I want to write, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. And then I was doing all these auditions and stuff, and I'm like, this makes no fucking sense. This sounds stupid. I didn't like reading other people's words. It was just really difficult for me to, and it's part of being a good actor, is like to immerse yourself in the world that somebody else is kind of writing for you. So like, I didn't like that aspect of like, with acting, I don't know. I'm like, wait, what exactly, if you don't have a good director, someone who's telling you like, I'm going for this, I want you to kind of say it in this, like, in this manner, this is kind of the idea of the character, and I never knew what
you have to trust nobody as a stand-up.
Yeah, you have to have good instincts.
And you walk up there, you're like, I know my bits, I know who I am, I know my ability to write, I know my ability to perform these things.
Right.
And it's all the guts, all the glory.
Like
you
acting
can't
now, like I'll still do some sketches and stuff myself, and I like that, and I feel so much more natural if I can write it myself, just because I know what I'm going for. Versus if someone's like, "Here's a sketch, do it," I'm like, "Well, I don't fully understand how you are envisioning this."
Yeah.
So, and it's just hard for me to. I like to write it myself and do it myself. Like I don't like to do other people's shit.
Yeah,
and
the entire third semester at this Ward acting studio, it was one of the best investments of my life and one of the best years of my life. Like I really just was like, this is it. I was doing construction to make money, but I was like, I'm just gonna dive into all this stuff, and it was all character development. It was like, can you find a point of view from a view that you don't share?
Yeah.
And like you depict somebody, and like people were picking like. There was a comedian in my class, and he's a pretty big comedian now. And I swear to God, and me and him are the only people that I know that have studied Meisner.
Can we say it and we'll cut it?
Yeah, I can beep over it if you want.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's a hilarious comic.
I'm just curious.
John Marco Ceresi. So me and him
I know,
New York,
from New York.
yeah. And everybody's picking like these prominent people. I found this guy that the story of American History X was based off of.
Okay.
They came to him to buy his story, and he declined because they didn't like how they were doing it. His name's Frank Mink. He's a South Philadelphia.
Really?
He was an up-and-coming rising star of the neo-Nazi Brotherhood.
Really? I didn't know he was based out of South Philly.
Yeah. So that character's not, but they took a lot. If you go and read Frank's story, they took a lot of his life and kind of retrofitted into. And Edward Norton kills that fucking movie, and Edward Furlong killed. Like, it's such a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna do that. I was gonna do John Belushi, but John Belushi doesn't have an autobiography, and I found a really good biography about John Belushi, and I was like, and I'm at fucking Barnes and Noble, and I start reading. Let's see the cover. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. It's this dude with, like, clearly he has a swastika tattooed right here, and it's been laser removed off. And his book's called The Autobiography of a Recovering Skinhead. I was like, what's that about? And I read the cover. It's a South Philly guy, and I started,
must have been awkward checking that one out.
Bro, I fucking read the first, 7 chapters at Barnes & Noble. Yeah. This fucking guy with the...
You want to take it home with you.
Yeah.
One of the desks this guy's getting awfully into that.
What I got invested in, I was like, well, how do you think like he thinks? How do you think like he thinks now?
Yeah.
After the reform, and you look at guys, like fucking killer actors, and you go, well, how can you make, Heath Ledger at the Joker? I don't know. Watch The Dark Knight once a year.
Yeah.
It's so good. How do you get there? How do you? Because that's his point of view now. It's not. He's not playing a character. That's his. Right. So I think there's something really fun with that.
Well, I'm
not good at it.
But I could totally see that, and I think that is just the part of also inexperience where it's the good actors, they know how to just make those choices and immerse themselves and become a character where they're not. Even if it's shitty writing, they'll make it interesting.
Yeah.
So you just gotta be good. But I'm
because I worry when I write, I gained a lot of weight, so I'm the heaviest I've been, and I have some really funny bits about it. Being the heaviest I've been. But I want to get out of my own head. I want to, you know what I mean? There's a level of all right,
I want to do the same thing. Yeah.
Comic or whatever. You're the guy who's married, and
yeah.
You're the new dad, and
right.
That's very much a part of who you are. So it'll always be a part of your comedy, but I don't want to be the guy that just harps on being fat. You know what I mean? I want to.
But people
you're also you're not fat enough to be a fat comic.
I've had people more important than me, my friend, to be like, you need to fucking gain 80 pounds or lose 40 pounds.
Did Ralphie May tell you that?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not unconvinced that Ralphie May and Matt Rife are not the same person.
I was just gonna say, are you gonna say that Ralphie, you how did you start that out there?
I'm not wholly unconvinced
that Ralphie May is dead, right? Because he actually is Matt Rife.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
I put it on TikTok. The youth didn't come after me like they did with my Saquon Barkley bit. So
that would be a conspiracy theory I would like to see on TikTok, because Matt Rife, before he got those veneers, he had teeth that looked like Ralphie May's. Ralphie May lost a shit ton of weight, came back as Matt Rife.
Can we get Doug Stanhope on the phone?
I wish we could call him. He's probably doing an open mic in a Best Western somewhere, which is hilarious. I love the fact that he does. Did you see that Fox News hit that he did?
I didn't, but
he went on Fox News live from an open mic. The open mic is going on behind him at a Best Western in Arizona somewhere. And he gets on there, and they're asking him, I forget, it was that Jesse Waters guy on Fox. They're asking him a bunch of questions, and Doug Stanhope is doing Doug Stanhope. And he says something about banging his brother's wife at Parris Island the night before his Marine Corps graduation. And he's like, yeah, but she was also underage, so you could consider it statutory rape. Or he said, and then they're like, okay, Doug, why don't you have another drink? We're going to stop you right there. And he's like, I'm not even drunk yet. And they just cut it right there. It was so fucking funny.
Was this live?
This was live on Fox News prime time. Like, why
would you ever?
So he just
put Doug
consistently hits
Stanhope.
open mics. Like
he runs that. He hosts an open mic in a hotel.
You guys want to go to Bisbee?
I would love to go to Bisbee.
Let's book flights after we're done. I swear to God.
Bisbee. Man, I
swear to God.
What are they, like 20 miles from the border there?
Yeah.
I would love to go there.
Where do you think is the coolest place you've ever done comedy?
I got to open the Darrell Hall Bellwether Music Festival in Ohio.
Darrell, like of Hall and Oates?
Correct.
Were you with
He wasn't
Rick
there.
Adana?
I was with Rick Adana. Did you do it the next year?
Well,
Rick Adana almost
first
had
of all,
a
we got to talk about this.
we were supposed to do something Hall and Oates related.
Hall and Oates had a music, some type of bar in upstate New York that we were
I'm
going
like,
to do.
why is Rick Adana so cued in with Hall and Oates?
Bro, I drove from New Jersey to Ohio with him. He likes Hall and Oates. He loved it.
Yeah.
I have no idea why he's like
Well, he's
connected
from
with
Ohio.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in like the fucking festival. It was the first time in my life, one of the only times in my life. I've only done it a couple times where like I did something like, 10
Oh wait, I was supposed to do that Bellwether Music Festival. I think the next year, but they canceled it. I think because of COVID.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
Damn.
No, but I got to do it. I've never done an outdoor space like that. I don't know how many people were there.
Yeah.
It was very brightly lit, and I mean, just people are just like. So it starts. It's this 3-day music festival, and it's a bunch of like fucking RVs and people in his beer tents and everything. And Kevin Downey Jr. was the headliner. They wanted a comedy show to start, like the pregame, the music fest or whatever. So bands went on after us, but we started with, and I was the host for that. So I got to bring up Rick Adana as the feature, to bring up Kevin as the headliner.
He's hilarious too.
Oh my God, he's one of the funniest guys.
Hard.
The way that he got kicked off of America's Got Talent with Heidi Klum is so funny.
I don't know the story, but I definitely want to hear. But I talk about like comics that like fucking gave a shit about you. Like he's one of those guys, and like we definitely don't align in a lot of
politically
points of views for sure. Yeah. I'll tell you this though, I've been on the road with him. I've done weekends with him.
Nicest guy, right?
Yeah, I never talks about it.
Kevin Downey Jr.
Yeah, if you want to talk about it, he'll talk about it. But if you don't bring it up, he's not gonna like. You know, he's a fucking guy from Detroit, like hardworking, like blue collar parents, and like we definitely don't align. But cool as shit, man. Like I met him at Broadway Comedy Club. Okay. I had a couple shows, like they gave me like a little residency or whatever, and he was on 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And we just connected. We just, whatever. And then I saw him at the Boston Comedy Festival. I wasn't on, but I was in Boston, and I went. Oh, cool. And he goes, Josh Ryan, right? Like that kind of fucking. He's buddies with Doug Stanhope, actually.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I can see that.
or was, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But he fucking. And then I did a weekend at Comedy Works in upstate New York.
Okay.
And he was the headliner, and I was the feature.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we just hit it. We were in the same hotel, and we were just hanging out and just bullshitting. And then Rick Adana and him took me on this, like, it was like 10 shows or 9 shows in 8 days kind of thing.
No way.
It was fucking awesome. It was,
that's awesome.
And they were not all the Bellwether Music Festival.
Yeah.
But, we did a corporate gig at noon.
Yeah.
Just day drinking at this fucking IT firm or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Marky Mark did a lot of this when I was early on. We did like a run. We drove to Florida together, passed through Georgia, did some gigs there, went to Florida, did a run of gigs. One of them was at an old people's home at like noon.
Yeah.
That's where the money's at, though.
Yeah, but then we were at like side
Because it
splitters.
subsidizes the trip. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
we'll do this corporate gig. I don't know what I know what I got paid, and they paid me pretty well, to be honest with you. Like
I was
that
also
helps
very
subsidize
early on too, and he would let me feature and do. Actually, yeah, we did a whole. We went to Kazi's in what, Virginia? I think
Newport
it is.
News, Virginia. Newport News, Virginia.
Yeah, that's right. And like we did this whole run, and I was like a couple years in, and he would let me do 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I didn't have it, obviously.
He's one of those guys that like looks out for people below him.
And he was the man. He would go, dude, like, 'cause I didn't have it. He knew I was nervous, but he was like, this is how you're going to get it. So I'm going to bring you with me. You do this. And he's like, don't worry. If you get up there, just do as much as you can. He's like, I can do 2 hours if we need to.
Yeah, and
so
he
don't worry
will.
about it.
I've hung out with him.
Yeah.
He can do $140 if you need to. No, he's really good. The first time I met Mark Riccadonna, he was headlining. It was a pub in Clark, New Jersey, in northern New Jersey, and it was close to my house. And Rob Epple, I think is his name, but he used to run it. Molly McGuire's assistant shut down, but Rob gave me like an 8-minute guest spot. And I was really excited, and I did it, and nobody. My aunt came because she lived close, and nobody was really laughing at my shit. And you could hear one laugh deep in the back. It was downstairs, and it was that belly. And my aunt came up to me after the show, and she goes, hey, somebody was really enjoying it. Was that the guy that runs the show? I was like, it wasn't, but it was the headliner. I stick around and have a beer with him. And we just hit it off. We just want to be connected, and and he's kind of looked out for me ever since. Yeah,
He's the man.
We have that bond. You have that Riccadonna, like, hey bud, like I got
especially because when you're early on, nobody does you those favors.
No.
So it's a really nice thing.
I try to do that for other. I try to be that. I really do. I try to be like a Riccadonna type. Or like a Pat House type to other people.
Yeah. I do the same thing, and I'm like, hey, why don't you come with me to this open mic high note, and
you
can go up 43rd.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to need a ride home because I'm going to be hammered tonight.
Yeah. By the time I'm done with that, and that bartender is slinging those gin and clubs, which are basically gin with a splash of ice.
I had about 3 Colt 45s tonight, so...
And that Kevin Downey Jr. story, briefly, is he did a chloroform/rape joke on America's Got Talent, and Heidi Klum said that is not funny at any point to anybody, and she refused to see him through any round. And that was his...
I've done that joke on stage.
The chloroform rape?
Because he likes to have somebody try one of his jokes on stage.
Oh, so you actually did
so I'm
his
hammering in
joke.
the back. I'm like, I got you, big dog. And I went up and I did that joke.
That's insane.
so funny.
How much time do we have on the old?
We're about an hour 5 in.
All right. Well,
Jesus Christ!
I
We
had a
didn't even
couple.
talk about anything.
Yeah, no, I had a couple other random things.
You
First
guys
thing,
are just easy to talk to.
we're just
Fuck
we're
yeah.
just vibing guys here, as the kids on TikTok say. But I had a couple of things. One thing I wanted to start. It's not even a news article. It's just something that's gaining a lot of traction right now. I don't know if you guys know that Wawa came out with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You guys
What?
seen that?
Might hit it on the way home.
Well, I recommend you don't, because people are pissed about it. I
What?
saw it online. It's $5 for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but it is very skimpy on the peanut butter and the jelly, where the outside is pretty much all of that. Now, how far will you guys go with Wawa and their ever-pressing mission for corporate expansion across the country?
When these motherfuckers started doing quesadillas, I said this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, or the
we got to get our
pizzas.
shit
Yeah,
together.
You know what? Fuck, at this point, fuck Wawa. Like, they're getting worse and worse. And
You know
worse.
what? I think we all have that point. When they did quesadillas, for me, you know what it was? Was when they started putting a guy outside of their, where you order your...
And an offensive sombrero, and you're like, fuck you guys.
No, this guy, I was just there the other day and I saw it. Guy is standing next to the ordering machines on the touch screens, and he has a platter just standing there with small little pieces of pizza, asking every single person.
It's so bad.
And Wawa, I was like, are you guys that clueless about your own stores that you're like, hey, you know where the best place to put somebody with free samples is? Right next to where no one knows where the fuck to stand when they're waiting for their order.
Right.
I was like, how you guys are expanding and you've lost your touch with everything.
Yeah.
Do you
Also,
have,
know
Stick
your
with
role.
hoagies, yeah.
Hoagies. Just
stick
give me
with
an
the
Italian.
hoagies, put some vinegar and mayonnaise. What was your breaking point, Brendan? Did you have one?
The pizzas, the quesadillas, yeah, it's a good point. I'm trying to think of what else they started to throw in the mix. Where
Burgers starting at 4 o'clock, which is weird. Only at 4.
I forgot they even had
Burgers aren't bad. I get them time to time. They're not
You
bad.
motherfuckers want to be Applebee's or do you want to be Wawa? Because
They want to be Sheetz because Sheetz had they went quantity over quality a long time ago, and Wawa's like they're on to something. And ever since they started doing that, it's not your like neighborhood delicatessen anymore. Ever since they stopped, you know what it was for me originally when they stopped doing the meat and cheese over the counter deli style.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
That was a long time
when
ago.
we grew up. It was very much like if you were having like a family party, they go, let me get a 6-foot sub. I'll go to Wawa. And it felt like a local deli.
Yeah.
You get like a big sub.
Yeah.
And like you get some fresh pickles, all that good stuff. And
now
then
it's Costco level corporate.
Yeah. And they're just dishing it out. I mean, it's packed to the gills. It's like a McDonald's.
Yeah.
And you're like, this fucking stinks.
But
dude.
it's the fact that they're trying to go all over the country, and I've looked at their corporate portfolio. They're trying to double the stores by 2030.
And then it just gets so mass produced that
And when you do that, you got to cut quality. You can't keep this. You can't use those nice rolls from this area if you want to ship to Jacksonville. You just can't do it.
And with the PB&J, dude, it's like I'll just get an Uncrustable.
Why
dumbass?
But like a loaf of bread is $3.50, and you're charging me $5 for a peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
That's fucking...
charge me a premium. It's 1:00 in the morning. I need food in my fucking fat stomach.
It's like I'm fucking...
Charge me what you got, but make it decent. And don't,
It's unfortunate.
One other thing I was going to touch on here, too, as well. I don't know if you guys saw, but the Mega Millions winner is somewhere in New Jersey. They have yet to claim a $1.13 billion ticket. Is it you, Josh Ryan?
Well, I wanted to do the podcast before I start getting, public with it.
Wow.
Yeah. Are you coming out now as the lottery winner of $1.13 billion?
No, I have a personal relationship with God, and I know I'm going to die poor. It's fine. I'm not upset.
But you're leaving us the money.
You know what's funny? All of my money is being donated to charity. I should leave it to my family if I go.
What
I haven't. It's not set up that way. If it happens tonight,
what charity? Alcoholics Anonymous?
American Diabetes Association is on there. AA is getting $0 of my dollars.
Oh, fuck American Diabetes Association, man. If they haven't come up with a cure yet, they're never gonna do.
On it, what is it? AIDS? I mean, come on. Let's fucking.
Yeah.
I just did it. People at TikTok liked it because the middle-aged fat guy said it, and they didn't like my Saquon Barkley thing. It's fine. I'm not upset.
Fucking kids.
Not even thinking about it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm more honestly though. Like I'm more afraid of diabetes and AIDS. Like how the fuck did that happen?
Diabetes?
I'm more afraid of diabetes than AIDS by a lot.
Yeah, I mean AIDS is curable. Diabetes is not. Well,
100%.
Type 2 is, but. Type 2, they actually found this crazy cure. It's called diet and exercise. Come on now.
Yeah, dude. Wait, is AIDS curable now?
Yeah,
I see the
dude.
billboards about taking a pill.
You will die of old age before you die of AIDS in 2024.
Not to keep quoting comedians, but Tim Dillon had another great. He's like, AIDS is so not a big deal now. Where you go to the doctor, he'd be like, the good news is you have AIDS. The bad news is you have high cholesterol.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
that'll kill you before that, right? Damn. Well, dude,
so fucking
that
who do you blame? I blame. Before we started recording, you said the Muslims were at fault.
Yeah, generally anything.
We have so much technology. We got a new fucking iPhone every year. Elon's sending people to fucking Mars. We can't take the weekend and cure diabetes. We got Dan down here fiddling with AI. Can you come up with an algorithm that just runs my pancreas for me?
Fuck. If we could come up with
You
that.
have like the thing, like
I got the insulin pump. I'm pumped up right now, dog.
Dude, my dad was
put
old
some
school
Colt
type
45 in that thing. What would happen?
Yeah, what do you got to do with the?
That's a new one. That's tech savvy. Got an app.
This is pretty sleek. This is the Tesla of insulin pumps. Dan saw the T. He goes, oh.
Constantly monitor your.
Yeah.
Damn.
See my blood sugar. My blood sugar right now, you could see. It's gone up a little bit from the Colt 45, but generally I'm keeping it in, decent.
Keeping
check.
that thing in drive, huh, dude? That thing looks pretty sweet.
And it's connected to
So
my
what has
phone
that done
now.
for as a type 1? You've been a type 1 since
I
you
was
were
16.
young, right? 16?
Yeah, I got it when I was 16.
I think my dad was diagnosed, but he would have been 65, so it was many, many years ago. I think he was like
Dad was
19.
young.
Yeah, he was young when he got diabetes, and he was young when he died. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but also, how old are you?
40. I just turned 40.
And your dad would have been 65, so he was 25 when he had you? Or like 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He passed away when he was 42. But like that
God,
shit.
so young.
So like, what it's done for your life expectancy? Like, if you watch your sugars and shit, and don't get fat like me and like fucking do all the things you're supposed to do. I feel like it's a hindrance, not a death sentence. But if you had type 1 diabetes 45 years ago, it was like, yeah, it's definitely going to cut your life short.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like they didn't even have when I first got diagnosed, I was on straight needles. Like they didn't have
tech wasn't out yet.
Well, no, they did have this stuff, but like it was not as tech savvy.
Only Magic Johnson was getting that kind of shit.
Exactly. Yeah. You had to be on. They wanted you on needles for a little bit because I don't know. God for first of all, this is expensive, so not everyone can afford it. So a lot of people are just on straight needles. Like this shit cost. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but it cost me thousands of dollars. Like every month. It's nuts, insane. Dude.
Thousands of dollars every month.
Yeah, I mean, around now I have better insurance, so it's like give or take. But like, it used to cost me in my old job with insurance, like $800 a month.
That's fucking nuts, dude.
With insurance, it drives me.
Something you need to live, basically.
Yeah, $800 for the rest of my life through no fault of my own.
It's not reconstructive surgery. I want my eyes set farther apart or some shit.
It's like if you get cancer and then they go, well, look, every single month, like, and it's like, yo, I didn't do this to myself. So it drives me fucking crazy. But yeah, I mean, like the technology at least is getting really good. But I mean, diabetes is only like insulin. They only found it, I think, in like the 20s. So like people used to just fucking die, and then I think
just liver shock and like, all right, motherfucker checked out at 39 or whatever.
They weren't even able to manipulate it to have it the way that you do to save diabetics until I think it was like the 1920s.
Yeah,
so which is what, like our grandparents,
great grandparents, yeah.
And like my grandpa had diabetes type 2.
Yeah, 1905, we didn't know what diabetes was, and we didn't have antibiotics. Like, that's a wild fucking...
That's wild, because that's like literally 1 or 2 generations.
It's like Game of Thrones time era. I'm like, no, it was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
My great-grandmother, who I met, was on this earth.
Like, if I was born during that time period, I'd just be dead. Like, I would have been... Natural selection would have already got me, dude.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm always one of those people throwing off the years. Like, if you say right now that the year 2000 was 24 years ago, a lot of people still think 20 years ago was like the 80s.
Yeah.
But it's like, no.
In my head, 20 years ago was the 80s.
To me, 20 years ago, like, I was listening to Now 8 on a CD in a boombox. But I'm like, no, like, 20 years ago, like, you were, like, in high school.
Now I'm getting to the point where 10 years ago was, like... college, like
my 10-year reunion for college is this year,
and the gap from your 10-year being removed from college and the gap from your 20-year being removed from college, gone. Like you blink and you're like, what the fuck?
As you get older, time just speeds up, man.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And it's because it's a smaller percentage of your overall time. Tell my 10-year-old niece, like, you have to wait 3 months for summer vacation. She's like, oh my god, how am I gonna do this?
Yeah, imagine now you're like, that's just the first quarter.
Yeah, and now like when whatever show ends, I'm like, I'm gonna blink and the fucking show's gonna start back up or whatever. Like, the Bear season 3 will be here before I know it. It's fine.
Dude, my son just turned 1.
That's wild.
Like, I can't believe it.
I feel like you were just on paternity leave a few weeks ago.
Yeah, like we were just. I mean, my whole act is about how my girlfriend's pregnant. I'm married with a 1-year-old son. Dude. I gotta start updating this shit.
Pretty soon, yours is gonna have to be like your son getting someone knocked up at prom. Like, you gotta get shit updated.
Dude, it's crazy, man. I mean, like everyone says that they're like, time flies, and all the cliches they say about having a kid, it's 100% G.
This is why my new thing has been getting high out of my mind and watching things about the space-time continuum. Have you guys done this?
Yeah, I've done similar things. I haven't done that specifically.
I'm like, I get so into the fact that, like, if only we could, like, send us 3 to, like, space to travel at the speed of light. If we come back to Earth and, like, hundreds of years have gone by, but we've only aged the time that we've been traveling, which has been next to nothing, and you come back and, like, that's how you travel through time. I'm like, holy fuck, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Interstellar?
Because you don't have
Interstellar
kids.
is great. I watched it on mushrooms, and I was out of my fucking mind.
Oh, you probably cried your eyes out.
Oh, holy shit. I was bawling my eyes out, and I was like, this is the most beautiful masterpiece.
I love that movie.
That's an amazing movie.
It's so
I gotta go
good.
back and rewatch it. I haven't seen
Dude, when McConaughey, his daughter, he's up in space, and he watches his daughter age to become older than he is.
Yeah.
And he sees all these, like, video diary logs of her progressing through life without him.
Yeah.
And he's crying.
It's getting darker and darker, basically.
It's
Yeah.
so sad, dude. You're like, oh my God, dude. Can you imagine if your kid just grows up and you come back and you're younger than your kid and you miss their whole life?
Well, it's time makes you softer in a good way. And I'm not a father, so I'm only speaking from secondhand. But like, it's soft. The hardest guy I've ever met in my life. This is fucking hardest motherfucker. He's got 2 daughters. They're one of them's my goddaughter. Like, he's a softie now.
Yeah.
Like, he's so not the guy.
Yeah.
He's not the guy I'd want to fuck with.
Right.
But like, he's not the guy he was.
There's something
he's
about...
not itching for it anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
there's something about becoming a dad, for me at least, that when I saw a baby before, I was like, fucking baby. Yeah, I see them all the time.
we see your baby,
Now, just in general, I see
and now you see
babies
anybody's
or
baby.
dogs now. I see them, and they, for whatever reason, they fill my heart with so much warmth. Like,
Yeah.
I
Because
just
there's a level of innocence.
exactly, yeah.
And
but
you
dogs
get that now.
It's dogs and babies. I'm just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
I'm only like that with dogs. I got to work it over to the kids, although maybe
Yeah.
I shouldn't. But you're talking about the hardest guy you've ever known. The hardest guy I've ever known is Brendan when there's a sale on lumber at Home Depot. Holy shit. He's just going to...
yeah, dude.
He's loading up that fucking
we're in a
Ford
wa-
Fiesta.
Oh yeah, unless I'm a sale on Home Depot or me watching a Leonardo DiCaprio movie, I am hard as ever. Dude.
Or if
Yeah.
you could just get fucking another hubcap on that Corolla, dude.
I got one left, baby. One left. I might just pop it off so it looks uniform.
The Departed, did you feel like Leonardo DiCaprio, that gets you ready to go?
He crushed it. The fact that he didn't get an Oscar, and
He did so
people.
good.
I feel like now people are kind of going back and going like, The Departed's not that good. The fuck?
Fuck you. Shut up.
The fuck you talking
Yeah.
about, dude?
What are you, fucking retarded?
You
fucking...
That movie's so fucking good.
It's great.
It's got the hottest guys of all time in one movie.
All right, we like it for different reasons.
What more can you need, dude? Damon, Wahlberg, DiCaprio. What more do I need? My fucking
sale
Irish,
on lumber.
It's about Irish folks in Boston.
Irish
That's a
Catholic boys.
Outside of Goodfellas, it might be my favorite Martin Scorsese movie.
It's up there for me.
I mean, that's a really hard thing. Like, again, I grew up on Scorsese, so like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like, I don't know. There's just so many.
No, I agree with that. Goodfellas, Departed.
Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
There's not a better movie, in my opinion.
Has there ever been a movie that has more taken over an Italian guy's personality than the Goodfellas? Like, there's not an Italian guy who isn't walking around today pretending that he's kind of in Goodfellas.
Yeah.
No.
When they chop up onions at home, they're going, I'm just like in the fucking movie,
Yeah.
dude.
If you do it real thin, it liquefies in the pan.
They're all saying the lines to themselves.
We
dude.
should have spent the last hour talking shit on the Italians.
Yeah.
We
Oh
really
my
missed
God.
the mark.
You know what's funny? When we were in high school, it was so popular to be Italian. Now look at all those motherfuckers with their leather skin and skin cancer and their stupid fucking haircut.
Oh, and the government a bunch of taxes.
And their Italian flag tattoos draped across their back. You look like a fucking
The
moron.
worst thing that ever happened. I used to go to Seaside Heights with my aunt, my uncle, my cousin, my mom, a bunch of my other aunts. Like, we would rent like a cottage house combo.
Dude, that's like ground zero for the guineas.
We did it for 3 years at Seaside before they filmed the Jersey Shore. This is in my in my 20s. And then they filmed the fucking Jersey Shore, and it was like a little bit of scuttlebutt and hubbub. And then the following year was the last year
How
we
old
did
are
it.
you that you're saying scuttlebutt and hubbub?
Did you go to Seaside from Boardwalk Empire in the 1920s?
It was a little scuttlebutt.
see,
Little
Me and my dad were just
scuttlebutt.
walking the board. See?
He's Italian fella, slinging the heroin.
Extra.
Let's
Read
go.
all
The extra
about
greasy
it.
hair. See?
I've worked
Scuttlebutt.
His
a lot
knuckles were
with
hairier than my head.
my
Yeah.
buddy Lucky Luciano. Wouldn't have any parts of this. Yeah.
I like the word scuttlebutt.
It's a great word. I just
Butts
haven't.
or bud?
I haven't heard
What
it
is it?
used
Butt.
since
Scuttlebutt.
the 1920s.
Yeah.
So where are we going with these wops and their hair?
They prefer Dago American.
Right.
Can you not be so fucking racist?
Jesus,
Look how
man.
crazy we get. 140 in. I mean, Jesus.
Oh, you think that's my first 40, motherfucker?
You were too deep on the car ride over here.
Right.
But where are you going? You guys rented that place in Seaside, right?
And then the Paisans came, and then it ruined everything.
It really did. We were on the yeah.
I'm not. First of all, it's all Staten Island Italians.
Yeah.
This is 3 Irish guys from Jersey talking here.
Can you imagine a worse group of people than Staten Island Italians?
And that's just they settled in Seaside. I like how I say settled like they were pilgrims, but that's just as far.
This is where we live, fucking June to August, okay?
Straight off the boat from Staten Island.
That's just as far south as their certified pre-owned Altimas got them out of Staten Island, and they just settled there. Yeah. But we were on the boards of Seaside, and they did not take a liking to people that were imitating the Jersey Shore. It's as if they didn't want that kind around anymore.
Yeah, the South Jersey Bad Boys took a little bit of a detour. We went
typecasted
out to
Matt Pooples.
Yeah, Matt Pooples. We took him down to the Seaside Boardwalk.
Is he not? He's a South Jersey guy, right?
He is, but what we did was, it was right around the time when they were announcing Jersey Shore 2 was being filmed in Atlantic City. So I had the bright idea.
I didn't even know that was happening.
This was like 2 summers ago at this point.
Yeah.
And I was like,
this is contingent upon the situation not overdosing.
Yeah. I was like, let's get Matt to dress like a guy with the Jersey Shore, play the part, which he did very well, which I feel like was his role. He was born to play.
And nobody called out his Scandinavian.
Well, that's what they did.
All did.
They all did. But I was like, let's just go there and say that he's in Atlantic City and we're filming part of the Jersey Shore on the boardwalk. And when he was up there with the entire look and do that was done, all the people that were like native Seaside Heights people were like, look at these fucking scumbags. And then other people saw us and they were like, of course, running up to Matt. And they're like, you're on the Jersey Shore? Have you looked at your skin tone and hair? Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Viking motherfucker.
There we go. Are you Italian? And Matt would go, it's hard to tell.
Let me leave you guys on this question here. Going back to that lottery, the jackpot. All right, the
jackpot.
The woman that got the not the woman, but the winning ticket was sold in Neptune, New Jersey, and 1.13 billion. If you take the cash option, that's 537 mil, which you can receive in 3 to 4 weeks. If you guys were to receive 537 million within a couple of weeks, what would you guys do with it, and would you go broke immediately? And there's a lot of lottery winners do go broke pretty fast.
Yeah, because 537 mil, granted, while that is a lot of money, it's not as much as you think nowadays. You got to be making 200 grand.
I'm sorry, $537 million.
Don't
half
get me wrong.
$1 billion.
Don't get me wrong.
You think you and Jack are going to be okay if you got a half a bill in the bank?
Don't get me wrong. That's a crazy amount of money, but I could totally spend it.
Yeah.
That's like a few hoagies classics at Wawa these days. 500 mil? Yeah. 537 million. People always fantasize about like what they would do with that money.
Yeah, no, it's an insane amount of money.
I would take $3 million. I would take the lump.
Yeah.
I'd take $3 million, and then I would give it to my accounting team. Because if you give me $4 million, I'm dead within the year. Like, there's no way I'm not. There's just no way.
Yeah. I'll take a few trips to Atlantic City. I'd be done for.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie Brewster's Million? Richard Pryor?
No.
John Candy?
No.
Classic.
Richard Pryor and John Candy were in a movie together.
Richard Pryor and John Candy. And it is fucking killer. He gets to inherit money, but he's got to spend. He can either take a smaller sum now, or if he spends $30 million in 30 days, he gets this fortune. But he can't buy. It's a fucking great movie. You should watch it. And
cool.
It's him trying to figure out ways to spend money without accumulating things. It's really funny. It's a really good movie.
Damn.
I don't know. You just buy a bunch of houses, buy some boats. Like
you get some nice houses in Jersey for a few mil, and that's still not putting a dent in 537 million. I would pay back half my student loan, say fuck the other half. And
I just pay off the
fucking
principal.
criminals.
I would buy enough Honey Nut Cheerios to take the box tops off the top of them and send them in, and I would call it a day. That'd be it. I'm a millionaire. They're not coming after me.
You know, they're finding out that Cheerios are actually not that healthy for you. But I'll tell you what, man. When I was 7 years old, my cholesterol had never been lower.
Bang.
It's a joke I was working on that I threw out.
The old Honey Nuts keeping us all alive.
Thank you.
Damn. Well, I think
It might have been that 7-year-old metabolism you had. I never had that.
I can't believe people are still eating cereal and giving it to their kids now. Like, I would eat Cookie Crisp all the fucking time. Like, there's no way that should be given to kids.
There is zero nutritional value
in eating cookies.
any
sugar.
cereal.
Oh, the sugar in all of them is through the roof.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, like even the ones that are marketed as healthy Cheerios or like Honey Bunches of Oats, they're like 45 carbs. I know this. I know carbs to a T because I'm diabetic. I have to count my carbs. So it's like you should look at a box of cereal. There's certain foods as a diabetic that I just cannot eat even if I take the right
Obviously,
amount.
like the sweets, the cookies, cakes, all that.
Well, there's certain
different.
things like if I have a sweet, as long as I take the right amount of insulin, because like your guy's body produces insulin to cover it, I just have to do it manually, right?
Sure.
So like generally speaking,
Mine does okay. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not rocking at 100%.
Generally speaking, it's like I can kind of eat whatever as long as I'm appropriately calculating. But then there's certain foods that no matter what you do, it's gonna send you through the fucking roof.
Is it because it's all processed and it's all sugary
Probably.
processed crap?
Yeah, probably. And cereal is just one of those things where it's like, even if I calculate and say, oh, this is 45 carbs exactly, I'm taking, the exact amount of insulin required.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's gonna fuck my day up.
And if you're gonna be naughty about it, well, we're gonna blow your load on Lucky Charms for, right? Like,
Well, I mean, they are fucking good.
I mean, they're magically.
I might actually blow my load for Lucky Charms.
Speaking of loads, how many carbs are in semen? about a dollop.
Do you have to account for that if you were a gay diabetic?
I don't know. I have to ask Dan's dad.
Jesus!
Clip it.
Bang!
Do not clip that to Mean Gene. I just saw him at a fundraiser, and he's a great guy.
Yeah.
What the fuck else are we gonna say that's gonna top that fucking?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'd go with you fuckers for hours, but I know
We really,
that
we
we've already
really
hit the-
could. Let me.
You want to do a
forget-
two-parter, folks?
We really should do a
You go
part.
Joe Conklin, Josh Ryan, 2 parts. That's how.
We really could make it a 2-part thing, and part 2 is going to be all of us on mushrooms. How about that? Yeah.
All right.
Here's my dad's text after the fundraiser show Brendan did as well.
Yeah.
Brendan had a good night, busting on how old everyone was. Class in 1925, artwork in the cafeteria. Was this a high school for regular kids? ? I said hello to him before the show. Period.
He just said the straight up most factual information of the night. 3 things I made fun of, and I also did say hello to him before the show.
Yeah, and that was it. It's just he gave
It was your dad going, "Hey, I didn't tell him to go fuck himself right before he went on," and here he's swinging.
Yep, that's all he did.
That's
He's
awesome.
just pure
I love Mean Gene, dude.
factual statements, right to the point. He's like a stenographer. That's all he
Yeah.
is, dude. He's just repeating the facts.
He does not fuck around, bro.
No.
At 8:27, Brendan came up to me and said,
Fun fact for you, and then we can wrap after this if you want. My dad
"Just rub it in. Your dad's.
My-
you just have a good relationship, and he's
No,
around."
no, it's
Yeah, so your dad's still alive, bro.
my dad is another Rutgers alum. He went to Rutgers Camden for 2
Camden.
years,
Raptor.
New Brunswick for 2 years. He
graduated.
he did.
It's the same degree, but it means more because
For
the
whatever
second
reason.
one came to New Brunswick.
He used to have his own hanging flower basket business, and he called it Green Jeans, and he would grow flowers in a greenhouse.
That's pretty badass.
So there was a guy.
No way.
There was a guy in Cinnaminson near Whistler's Inn, if you know where that's at on 130. There was a guy near there. Josh
Local
knows where it's
reference
at.
guy.
I know where it's at.
That's a
Yeah.
nice Flyers sports bar right there.
It's not too shabby.
Yeah.
I just love that Dan is just digging his heels in with the
local stuff.
Hey, it's off 130 if you ever heard of that.
right by the.
It's not the Northeast Bad Boys. It's the South Jersey Bad Boys.
Yeah, I know the 130 corridor like the back of my hand. And this guy Wayne owned these greenhouses in a farm off of 130 in Cinnaminson, and he had like 5 or 6 of them. And greenhouses are pretty huge. And my dad was helping him out with stuff, was growing hanging baskets. And my dad's recommendation to him, he's like, "You want to make some real money in here? We should start growing pot." And whether or not they did, I do not know.
What
but
year is this?
This was early 2000s.
Did you grow up in a nice house?
Middle class house, nice Cape Cod. About my dad, I think, sold it a few years ago for about
Cape Cod.
about $250. Cape Cod, 3-bedroom, 2-bath,
All right.
finished basement.
Think you did that on hanging plants exclusively, or do you think,
No, my dad was working for the state. I think he had a little inside job with Christie. There was a little traffic in Fort Lee, you know?
was he selling marijuana to?
I guarantee you he was. If I show you his Rutgers ID, Rutgers Camden Scarlet Raptors, he looks like the campus fucking acid dealer. So
love
back
it.
in 75.
I love
Yeah.
it. Can you clip it to?
We're going to clip it right here to Mean Gene. I'm going to put his thing up there. He's probably been wanted for multiple murders now for a long time. But
You're just slandering
Also, I need
your good
acid.
father.
we'll clip it
I
right
need
there.
acid.
We'll clip it right there. What do you got coming up, Josh Ryan? Anything? You're going to high note after this, right?
I'm going to high note after this. I am going to be featuring at the Harrisburg Comedy Zone May 3rd and 4th.
Let's go.
Hey,
For who?
Cinco de Mayo.
I don't know yet. I just found that out.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
There's a fun little shindig from this in Atlantic City. I was going to do May 3rd, 2nd, and now I just switched. Amy
Lynn.
Yes.
Lynn.
Brendan was going to do it, then he couldn't, and then I did it, and then she was like, give my number to everybody, so anyone listening, comedy people, you want to do stand-up, hit up Amy Lynn and AC.
418.
418?
See this handsome son of a bitch.
Fuck yeah.
April 18th, Rhythm and Spirits.
Amy's awesome too, by the way.
She is, yes.
She's really nice.
Amy and Lenny.
Okay, just talked to him briefly on text, but
Yeah.
really good people.
Yeah.
They're good peeps.
Nice.
And then I'm doing a cricket comedy pop shop.
In Collingswood?
In Collingswood.
Your face is all over Collingswood
It's
right
so
now, dude.
fucking gross. Half my family lives in Collingswood, and
Damn, dude.
it's all... I need to dirty up my set.
Dirty it
because
up.
My aunts are coming, and I don't want to... And the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
But you're dirtying up the set for the ants.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't ever fucking come ever again.
Aunt Debbie loves
Oh,
that.
gotcha. I was gonna say, I'm like, weird relationship with the ants. It's like
What?
ants are coming, so I'm
Dirty it up.
Add in the blowjob jokes.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, I get to work with Bob Marchdale.
There you
who
go.
I've
Love
worked with
Bob.
many a times, and
Yeah.
he's a funny dude. He's a
Great guy.
good hang, and
Yeah, and I think Andrew Boss will probably be trying to sell some type of drug around there that night.
he's just gonna hang out. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to Fisher's after. What do you got coming up, Brendan?
I got
April 5th. We'll go to Fisher's after.
April 5th. There we
What I
go.
got.
Find us at Fisher's.
I got a good April, decent with Conklin a bunch. Check out my Instagram for that. I'm actually doing some shows in Boston.
There we go.
Yeah, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Don't Tell Boston. A couple brewery shows there. I'll be posting on my Instagram soon. It's Brendan Donegan Comedy.
Nice.
And I guess I don't know if I should announce this yet because they haven't announced it yet. But I got a couple festivals that I'll be announcing
Nice.
soon.
Yeah.
Whenever they announce it, I guess then I will. That is in May. So I guess just keep your eye out for that. I'll be announcing those.
You got that
dates soon.
motherfucker? I 4 years in a row they said no, thank you. Thanks, but
Which one are you talking about?
you know,
Netflix is a joke.
not.
That's coming up. That's in May.
Haven't heard back from them. But I got the Saint making a flyer for me for some of these dates, so I'll post the flyer.
Yeah.
You'll see the dates.
There we go.
And that's it.
Nice. And I'll speaking of festivals, I'm through our friend Amy Lynn as well doing the AC Beer Fest. If you're going to be wasted at an after
yeah.
party in Atlantic City, me, Jimbo Slice, and Gary Sharp Jr. will be there on the 13th of April in Atlantic
Garrison
City.
Sharp.
I'm going
Garrison
to that
Sharp.
one. That sounds like a hoot.
5 p.m. and 11 p.m. On Tennessee
Yikes.
Ave. Oh my God! On a Saturday after a beer fest in AC, got that. Got a VFW the week after, and then a Norristown with old Chris Kosha after that.
Love
so
Kosha.
got
I haven't
old
seen him in a
Koshi.
minute.
Koshi. We got a lot of kosher Kosha with Koshi there. So we'll got that coming up, and yeah, Bad Boys 856-617-4626. Tell us what's in your ass this week.
What's in your ass?
We'll see you.
Thank you.